When I say home, I would just say that was where I was raised, but I don't think that it would have considered to be home for any child. But that was my normal growing up, was having a dad that was strict, abusive, a mom that was unavailable. Being the oldest, I was responsible for my siblings. I took on the parent role. Back then, in the eyes of the younger me, was that I just had to behave well, like how I was expected to behave by my dad, because if I had to behave well and earn my parents' love, then maybe I had to act that way towards God. It's such a slow process, and it was actually during the trial process was when my mom was diagnosed with cancer. In her words, in Cambodian, she wanted to have her last breath in Cambodia. And so we flew her to Cambodia. A few months later was when she passed away. And when my sister passed away, she passed away in her sleep. And so I didn't get to see my sister when she died either until she was in her casket at the funeral. It felt really unfair how both of them passed away, not only to lose them, but how I didn't even get to be by them. If you spoke to me back then, I would probably be smiling as I'm telling you a painful story. And that is so unhealthy, because after the abuse I went through at home, that was how I coped, was by just pretending I was fine. So by the time I lost my mom and my sister, I don't think I realized I was pretending, but that's what I was doing, that I was fine. I kept myself busy, worked full-time, going to school full-time, serving God in different ways in the community or at church. In 2019, I hit a breaking point. I started to go to therapy, and first few months of going to therapy was when I saw that church project mentioned about Grieve share. God started to peel a lot of the trauma and pain that I didn't realize I had. I realized I had to also grieve losing my dad, who is still alive. I was a believer before, but I would have not responded like Jesus back then. I would have just tried to make people feel positive right away. And I love that the Bible has that verse on sharing that Jesus wept, because that's the appropriate response. Seeing my friends in house church experience grief, I will not sit still, because God has taught me I didn't go through what I went through for no reason. And if you've never allowed yourself to feel the pain and the grief, you're not going to be able to sit with your brothers and sisters to help them, and you're going to be uncomfortable. And we shouldn't be uncomfortable to sit with people who are going through the darkness, because we're the body of Christ. We're supposed to be there for each other.